Hi everybody, it's Sarah, and it's Fabulous Friday, and it's a bit late this Fabulous Friday evening, but it's still fabulous, and it's still Friday, so I'm going to this video anyways. The topic that we have today is super important, and I think there's certain aspects of a whole recovery that you can emphasize less than others, but I don't think this is one of them. I think that it's super important, and I think that anybody who really has a thorough grasp on the concept of recovery, on the lifestyle of recovery, on that kind of thing, has mastered most, if not all, of these skills. And, I've done the topic before, but I think that it's a really great opportunity for me to sit back and reflect and decide, what's worked for me, what hasn't worked for me, and what have I learned that's new that can work for me. So yes, I don't mind doing it again. I think that, I have more to offer this time around than I did 2 years ago or whatever. So yeah, the topic is sort of a few ideas in one. The idea of clarity and insight, being and staying in recovery, and accountability. The first thing is that a lot of people tell me, oh, well, I can't recover because I don't want it. I don't believe that you need to want recovery for yourself to want to recover. I know that I personally did not start out wanting to recover for myself. When I was 17, I fractured my vertebrae in my back, and that was just sort of rock bottom for me. And I didn't want to live at all. Never mind without an eating disorder, with an eating disorder, just didn't want to live at all. But, I did love my family, my cat, my friends, enough to, to give recovery a shot. My values, my beliefs about life, about the value of life, about experience and learning and that kind of thing, those values were also not conducive to dying or choosing to die. So for me, my recovery started with a set of ideals and with the hope that I could make others around me happy. And yeah, that's not going to get you far, but at the same time, you can start recovery for someone else as long as you finish it for yourself. And so I believe that as long as in that transition, that period between starting it for someone else, starting it because you want a career, starting it because, you want to make friends happy, or family happy, or a spouse happy, something like that. Start with that, definitely. Any reason you have to recover, hold on to it, and, make the best of it. Any recovery, or any reason for recovery is a good reason. But somewhere on that transition between starting and finishing, that sort of shift has to take place, where you stop doing it for others, you stop doing it for a set of ideals, you stop doing it for beliefs, you stop doing it for a career, you stop doing it for all that, and you sort of shift up the priority list so that you end up finishing it for yourself. So that's my take on starting and being in recovery. So I really don't believe that everybody out there in quote-unquote recovery is doing it for themselves. And that's okay. Like I said, any reason is a good reason, as long as the end goal is for yourself. And I promise you, things like core beliefs about, oh, I don't deserve it, I don't, blah, 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 those will change as you change. So as long as you're open to the idea of doing it for yourself, then any reason to start recovery is a good one. Some of my really, really hardest days are I'm doing recovery because the alternative's worse. That's the only reason. And sometimes you're not always running towards something, you're running away from something. And as long as running away is running away from the eating disorder, from all that evilness, from all that really negative energy, as long as you're running somewhere that's not there, that's good enough for now. One of my favorite sayings is, when things don't go right, go left. Any direction that is not stationary or static or permanently here in this day that you're not enjoying and not living fully, any direction other than that is a good direction. And then once you get the things like clarity and insight, and you start developing a concept of who you are and who you want to be, and your values and beliefs start changing, then you can kind of tailor that direction a little bit more. But this is a process. It's not an event. So start with whatever you have. If that means you're doing it for someone else, if it means you're doing it for, a set of ideals, or because you want a career or anything like that, that's good enough. Start with that and just keep moving in a direction that's not backwards. And eventually you'll find the right one. I once wrote some poetry, and the last line was, "Not all who are lost stand still, but in hopes of something better, aimlessly roam." And that's what it's going to feel like. But, you're going to stumble upon something good eventually. There's more good than bad out in that world. Just take my word for it. And eventually you're going to stumble upon something that works. And through experience, you're going to accumulate all that, and that's going to be your repertoire of, coping skills and of concepts that work for a life that you can really enjoy living. So, yeah, you don't have to start recovery for yourself. As long as you finish it for yourself, you just keep moving. Insight and clarity, those are your best friends. And I can't tell you what insight and clarity are, because they're different for everyone. Everyone has a different truth. Everyone has a different happiness, or a different road to happiness, or journey to happiness. But what I can tell you is that clarity feels what clarity and insight feel like. I'm writing at them. Clarity feels like everything just falls into line, and it just, you can see for miles. Where you didn't start, or where you didn't believe that you had a future, you start to see one. You start seeing the people around you in a different light. One that's not so black and white, one that is a lot more forgiving, a lot more open, a lot more compassionate, understanding, and very dialectical. So very, very context specific. And insight is just kind of like one of those, oh, why didn't I think of that before moments? And it's one of those moments where you're like, okay, that makes me feel differently about something. So that changes things. And with insight and with clarity, you can start to tailor things that don't make sense, things like disordered thoughts and disordered behaviors and that kind of thing, into a way that, or into a method of recovery. And I think that that's really, really important. Like I said, there's not much I can do to tell you what insight is, or where to, how to get it, other than to surround yourself with people who lift you up. To surround yourself with people who have sort of a very similar worldview to surround yourself with people who are compassionate, understanding, and accepting of you in your entirety. And when you surround yourself with those people, you know, the beliefs and the thoughts and behaviors, those are all contagious almost. And you begin to sort of assimilate those into your self-concept and into who you are in the truth of your world. And I think that's really, really a blessing once you get there. So that's where you're going to find it. And that's how it feels. Is it feels like everything falls into place. It feels like, you know, there's light. There's still shadows, but there's light to sort of give you a better perspective. And it's just, everything almost makes sense. And in sight, you know, you start seeing things change in a way that works for you because of what people are saying, because of your experience and your mastery and all that good jazz. The last thing is accountability. And that's one that I struggled a bit more with. And that's where the new piece of this information, like the new piece of my experience comes in. For those of you who know me quite intimately, I have been in and out of treatment quite a bit the last 4 or 5 years for treatment of the dissociative disorder, which comes very, very closely related to PTSD. And I felt like I'd sort of faltered and kind of been, you know, stagnant and just sort of standing still a little bit. And what I learned, and what my therapist keeps drawing into me, is that I need to adopt the belief that I'm a consistent effort. So I need to adopt the belief that I not only need to eat every day, 3 times a day, but that I need to eat good food every day, 3 times a day. Not 6 days a week, not 5 days a week, not 6.5 days a week, but every single day. I need to sleep every single night. I need to be kind to myself 24 hours a day. And that's hard work. It is very, very hard work. And I am not really sure how to go about showing how to be accountable for that, because I still struggle with that some days. If I don't find something to do that day, then I'm very content to just sort of stay in my apartment and just read or sleep or just be by myself, because that's where I'm most comfortable. So in that case, structure is very helpful. Structure gets me out of bed. And when people are expecting me to show up for, you know, school or work or anything like that, that's very helpful, because I don't get the opportunity to not be accountable to life. And other than that, I don't have much to offer on that front. But if anybody has any suggestions, I'm more than willing to give them a shot, because yes, that is a very difficult aspect of recovery. It's that consistency. On your best days, being in recovery is very easy. When you get to a stage where you've been in recovery for quite a while, every day recovery comes more naturally. It's quite easy. You get to a point where not every meal's a struggle. But on the days that you don't feel like you deserve it, or you don't feel like you love yourself enough and that kind of thing, then it can be the hardest thing in the world. So let people know you're struggling those days, and make sure you get out once a day. Make sure you accomplish at least one thing a day. And give yourself credit for what you do accomplish, and give yourself credit for what you do achieve, and one step at a time. Sometimes it's easier to look back from where you've come than it is to look forward to where you're going. And just hang in there, because it does get better. When nothing goes right, go left, just go somewhere. And I hope that you got something from this, and I hope it's not too long like last week's. Anyway, take care, and have a really great week.